Hello. I'm sorry I am not able to be there with you guys today. Mrs. Stanley and I should be on our way home from Lawrence coming from the Kansas, what is it called? Social Worker and Counselor Symposium. Our very own Tiffany Swearens is scheduled to present, to be one of the breakout session presenters. So we are excited about that, and hopefully come back with a lot of good stuff for you. I know you hate watching videos because I hate making videos, so I'm assuming you hate watching them as much as I hate making them. So anyway, what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of the data collection. So I pulled up our year 3, which is what we're approaching, and we will have our visit, our annual KISA visit. I believe it's first part of April. So as you can see, these are the primary objectives for our KISA visit, and one is to implement and continue action plans and identify data, evidence, supporting plans, and goals. And we do a great job of that looking at ACT, Aspire, pre-ACT, state assessments, all sort of evidence and data based on curriculum and academics, and do a great job of that. One of the areas that we also need to look at is social and emotional learning, SEL. We also need to look at, we have a lot of great surveys and a lot of great things that we are asking our kids, but how we reflect and digest that information and share that out with you. One of the reasons that sometimes we don't share stuff because it's so overwhelming. Other times it takes forever to get stuff back, and by the time that we get it back, it almost seems irrelevant. So last year, as you recall, we sent the students a survey, and we had a lot of really good information, and we spent a day going through all of the pros and cons and what would they change, and how safe they feel at school. So it was a lot of, I think it was like 45 questions that we had asked, possibly more, specific to Frontenac and those sort of things. So it was a good opportunity for our students to voice those opinions. Other things that we offer, one of them is called the Kansas, I don't know if you can see this or not, the Kansas Youth Behavior Survey, and Mr. Koppel has copies of that as well. And this, we ask, there are 93 questions for the 2019 section, and it's a lot of health-related or risky behaviors associated with health questions that go along with them. And so, like one of the questions, question number 54, during your life, how many times have you used heroin, also called smack, junk, or China white? That's new to me. So you get to answer 0 times all the way up to section F is 40 or more times. So sometimes they are so broad that it may not really hit a lot of our kids. But then we have other questions about vaping and smoking, dating, being in a relationship where there is violence, those sort of things. So what happens is we had the 2019 Kansas Youth Risk Behavior Survey, but whenever we go online to find that information, the most recent data that's available is 2017. So that is available as well. And when we look at that, sorry, I'm all over the place. When we look at that behavior, those risk behavior surveys, again, that's from 2017. So the students that may have taken that aren't even our students anymore, depending on what grade levels were given those. And again, there will be, you can either find this link or you can, I'll have a hard copy there for you. So a lot of health behaviors, looking at dietary assessments, and then it breaks it down per year. And some of them are decreasing. I know Mr. Aiken and Mr. Smith would like to see this one, that it has decreased for that one as time has went on. And then talking about, I thought that was interesting, 43%, almost 44% were trying to lose weight. But then what they're trying to do is not reflective of eating healthy either because of the low number of fruits and vegetables, as well as physical activity, tobacco use. And again, this goes back to the, are they considering vaping or any sort of electronic cigarettes going through? And that is where this leads to 32% using an electronic vapor product at least once. That's a third. That is a third. So that's a lot. And I would say our number is probably higher than that. So again, so this is another survey that we give our students, but again, it's a timely concern as to when we get the data back. And then it's relevant too, because 2 years later we have different kids. So that is one thing that we have. And that was the 92 questions, the YRBS, Youth Risk Behavior Survey. The other one that I wanted to go through, my hard copy is at the copier right now, but it is the Kansas Communities That Care Survey. This is given to students in grades 6, 8, 10, and 12 every year. And that is when we go in and we ask the students. It is an anonymous survey that is online. They are launching their new website. Right now, their website is 108.178.42.178. That is their URL. So it's kind of a hit or miss to get through there. So once I get the district login, of course I'm locked out right now, so I can't show you this, but what I will have hard copies for you available will be the 2017-18 data that is here. And this is really good. This is specific to Frontenac High School, Frontenac Public Schools, and it is broken down. We can see there are 36 pages. I have to kind of go this way a little bit on this one. But as you can see, the report is not only, it's valid and it's reliable because it goes through Frontenac, Crawford County, and then the state of Kansas. So sometimes when we're comparing ourselves to other smaller schools, what rather are we comparing ourselves to inner city schools as well? It also breaks down the information, risk, and protective factor details compared to the state. So a couple of the things that I would encourage us to look at today would be those places that we are higher and lower in as well, and familiarize yourself with those. Again, this is the 2017-18 data. By the time that you're watching this, I will have the 18-19 data for you. Hopefully it looks like it's in the same format. Hopefully, who knows what it will be like. But this goes through the school years. What happened in 15-16 and 16 and 17 is they only report out data when over 25% of the students participate in the survey. So at this point in time, what we have done is we have went through and part of the enrollment process, as whenever they're clicking, like we give permission to ride the bus and take photographs and media release, we also put in the participate in the Communities That Care survey, and it's a quick automatically yes and no, rather than sending home the sign-up sheet with the parents, because a lot of times the kids will say, no, I don't want to do that survey, I don't want to do that. So we have a better response. So for those 2 years that we didn't have any data, it was because we didn't have over 25% of our students that participated in it. So as you look through here, as you look through the information, keep in mind that it's going to be this. Now I have hard copies of back to 04 of this. So I have like 04 to 08, I have hard copies of. E-cigarettes, I guarantee, were not even a question in 04. So really not comparing apples to apples at that point in time. So one thing that would be beneficial, again, for our keys to information, we need to implement and continue action plans and identify data, evidence, supporting plans, and goals. So those are one of the things that we need to do, and then followed by making adjustments as necessary. So as we're looking through the data, Kansas Communities That Care, when I've contacted the state, when I've contacted Brad and Kent Reed about what form do we use, how do we measure our students, and how do we look at that data, everyone refers back to the Kansas Communities That Care survey. So it is one of the better ones. We also participated in one from the University of Michigan last spring that, again, don't have the results, don't have the booklet to see how our kids compared nationally, but this breaks it down. Now, one of the things I did say was they have a new website. Oh, that's the YRBS. Where'd you go? Okay, so they're launching a new website, and everything is going to be pretty new. But what we can do here is we can look for our student survey and view. There we go. By county. Once I have this district and once I have the report login, once I have that, it will be better. So I can go into a question and compare our county and state. So then once I'm logged in, then I would be able to see the school as comparison to everyone else. So our county is probably going to be different on a lot of these questions than the state, and that's okay. So 30-day substance use. And again, we have to look at the validity and the reliability of these sources depending on the students who are answering the questions. So we're counting that they were 100% truthful, which you and I both know our kids are not 100% truthful when you ask them what time they went to bed last night. So how many times they've smoked heroin, maybe a little bit of a different thing too. So you always have that to consider. But again, this is good, reliable data to comparing apples to apples. So looking at the 2017-18 data compared to the 18-19 data, seeing the discrepancies, seeing what's going on, what are some areas of concern, what are some things that are alarming, and formulating that. And I'm not sure if Mr. Koppel is going to have you work in groups or a large group, have that discussion, or just sit there and make fun of me. That's fine too. It happens. So not really, that doesn't bother me. I'm not there, so you can do whatever. So that is that. And you can also go in here and talk about and find out everything else too about the survey. So the new web page is going to be really nice, but don't ask why that ridiculous. Here's the website right there. That's the website. So or the URL. So I don't know how I got there. I clicked things. So, but anyway, all right. Happy comparing and looking at the data.